Merry Christmas everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a, well, by now, former Boeing 737 pilot, and we are today going to have a look at the first of the three great airplane releases of 2023. Do take into account that I'm recording this prior to Christmas, so whenever the Builds A300 comes out, that one is not taken into account just yet. Alright, we are standing here in the first of the three releases, and I'm just going by chronological order here, which is the PMDG 737-900. Yes, that was indeed this year. And we are sitting here, fitting for a Christmas theme in the Alaska Airlines livery, with a message that I want to spread right at the beginning of the video. And that is exactly what's painted out right on our Boeing 737. And I want to take this one as a little opportunity here to thank everybody for being a member of my channel or for just watching my videos for today. But today we want to think not only about flight simulation, we want to think about doing the good things. And the good things in our case today mean that prior to watching this video, I just want to take everybody of you to take a moment and think about one organization that you think you could support, that supports all the people of the world, and go out and make a small donation to them to do their work in the next year. Which organization that's going to be, I will totally leave up to you. For today, I just want to spread the message, spread the awareness, and just be happy and thankful for everything that we've got available in our world, and not just for flight simulation, but also in the entire rest of the world. And I want to take your moment to do something good, make a small donation to whichever organization you think deserves it the most. And with that done, let's now head into the cockpit of our 737-900, and we are going to start with our flight from Anchorage in Alaska, taking it all the way up north to Barrow, which is a beautiful freeware airport up there in the high north. Before going out though, a quick shout out to the repainter of our aircraft. It's a beautiful paint, and I can't wait to show it to you guys, even in the cockpit, because it just looks excitingly beautiful. Alright, so now follow me up to the front and let's have a look into what our PMDG 737 evolved ever since it got first released with a 700 in 2022, and now we're sitting here in 2023 with loads of additional extras that's been added over this year, and two of them we obviously see straight on our screens. First of them being the multi-mode receiver that came in January, and the second obviously being the universal flight tablet. So let's take a seat over here and let's take a small moment to appreciate the details once again that have been put into this livery. I'm going to link the livery in the video description below, and this really is one-to-one what the Alaska Airlines cockpit looks like, with the single exception of the multi-mode receiver, which Alaska doesn't have in the real world, but which I added due to it being new this year. Alright, apart from that, some beautiful details that went into the livery, like all the stickers we've got over here, like use of Wi-Fi devices on flight deck prohibited when engines operating, the short field performance package, or the auto land limitations over here, all part of the livery. So again, a beautiful repaint of the 737, and you can be sure that I am going to link to it in the video description below. So thank you very much for that great repaint. Alright, with all of that done now, let's go ahead and power up our Boeing 737. So we're going to switch on the battery and we'll go for external power as well. It is rather dark outside, and I am hoping that with a bit of luck on this flight we're even going to see the northern lights. But we'll see about it as time goes on. Alright, so light up the people everyone. And then let's go ahead with our little safety rainbow there, and we're going to switch on the dome light as well. Here we go. Perfect. Right, emergency lights on, flight attendant call. Looking good. I'm going to set the parking brake straight away as we'll head out for the walk around in a few moments. Then, it is rather cold outside. It's December after all. So we'll do the fire test, and when that is looking good, we'll start up the APU straight away to make sure that we will get some warm air into the cockpit. Alright. Looking good, and then we continue up here. Stick shaker probably will need a couple more minutes till it works. Here we go. Okay, perfect. Then let's go ahead and start the APU straight away, and we'll put on one of the AC driven fuel pumps for that as well. Okay, perfect. So logo light on, position light steady, wheel well light on, and with that I'd say we can head out for the walk around. Let's do what you're not supposed to do here. Go right underneath the plane, and here we go. Okay then, starting with the pitot probe, with the static ports looking good. Tap probe over here is okay, and then quick look at the AOA vane and the pitot on the captain's side. Quick look down here into the gear bay, and everything's looking good, no oil or anything leaking, perfect. Then we can move a little bit further to the front, just quickly making sure that there is no damage or anything the likes to our airplane, and that it looks generally okay. And again, we got the two pitot probes and the AOA probe over here. Moving on, our static ports are again looking good. Might just about have to walk beam the baggage. Okay, general overview of the plane is good. There's nothing in here. That's really where I need a flashlight for, to have a look into the duct of the bleed air system. Same here. Okay, no scratch marks underneath the engine. Probably one of the most important things for us to check. And the wing is looking good as well. Beautiful split skimitar winglet, and I can't wait to see how the wing of the 737 MAX is going to look like in the sim over here. Alright then, landing gear looking good. Special look we pay is to the gear pin down here, making sure that the gear pins are actually all the way in place. And, sorry, not the gear pin, but the brake wear indicator pin. So we want to make sure that these things are not too worn. And we can tell that by looking at the length of the pin sticking out. If that is flush with the metal, then the brakes need replacement. Basically, once they become flush, you can do another 7 days of flying roundabout, and thereafter you will need replacement. Okay then, so quick look outside. The outflow valve is looking good. APU air is open, of course, since the APU is running. And you can see our logo light lighting up the Alaska logo on the vertical stabilizer there. Alright, that's everything really beautiful up here. Still doing the toilet service, it seems. Or the portable water in our case. Very good. And then we just do the same check as on the other side. Looking good on the brakes there, and looking good in the wheel well as well. Interestingly enough, these tacks just barely light up. The real one is a little bit brighter. Gonna note that to PMDG. And then let's have a quick check of the wing, making sure there's not been any bird strikes or anything the likes. Leading edge is looking good, and then we can quick look beneath the engine again. No scratch marks, very good. And then looking into the front of the engine, and with that our walk around is done. So once again guys, do what is right, make a small donation to an organization that really deserves it in your point of view. Alright then, straight back into the cockpit. We'll take a seat on the captain's seat, which is from where we are going to fly our 737 today. So first things first, let's go ahead and have a look into our flight plan. So request that one please. Here we go, Alaska 51. Then let's quickly check our actual OFP, making sure that the weather forecast and everything is good. So, weather services, we're going to depart. Our destination, Barrows, is actually looking pretty good. Visibility 4 miles, overcast 1500, perfect. Then we can have a look at our alternate, Fairbanks, which is fairly far out. Also looking good. Rather cold everywhere, -17, -16. And our departure Anchorage is also -6 at the moment, but high-lying clouds, so no icing conditions on the ground over here. Nonetheless, just to be on the safe side, what I am going to do right here in the pre-flight is I will put the probe heat on so that the probes can start heating up already. Okay then, quick light setup in the cockpit here. Let's dim those main panel lights a little bit, and then let's also dim the displays. The real plane has one feature that the PMDG does not have, and that is an automatic dimming of the display. So you got the light sensor up here on the glare shield, and when that senses that it's rather dark outside, then everything is going to automatically dim down a little bit. If you want to really kill your eyes in the 737, then you'll take the flashlight and you'll hold it in front of the light sensor when you're flying at night, so that everything goes to full daylight brightness. I can tell you, only do that if you hate the other guy that you're flying with. Otherwise, don't do it, really. Alright, that's looking good. Then, let's see. I'd say we need no extra fuel or anything the likes. We can take what we have, and if you have a look at this, then it's actually quite a lot of alternate fuel that we're carrying, and the reason for that is the flight time to the alternate. So it's an hour and 21 to Fairbanks. I even thought about going back to Anchorage, so just tankering round-trip fuel, but as you can see, our payload is already limited by max landing weight, so we have to be rather careful with the fuel. I'm not going to take much extra. It's going to be 19,425 plus our taxi fuel of 15 minutes here, so we'll take 20,000 pounds of fuel as a total loadout, and that's going to be it. So let's see, target fuel is going to be 20,000, and you can start refueling already. So portable water service should be done. Let's also do the lavatory service, and while all of that stuff is in progress, we can then already slowly start setting up with our loadout. So 165 passengers, and for the baggage it's going to be 2,500 pounds in the front, and it's going to be 2,000 pounds in the back. Alright, and that's it. So, catering services should be completed pretty much any moment, and we can let them go now, like that. Alright, and with the catering gone, we can basically start with our boarding. So, as we're about to start boarding, just make sure the seatbelt signs remain off, because we're still refueling the airplane as we speak. So, very good. The trucks are going. As soon as they are gone, the baggage is going to arrive, and then we can start loading up our airplane with our customer's baggage and start the boarding as well. It's going to be a rather quick boarding here, just 165, which is full load for this plane, by the way. The real Alaska plane can take 10 more, but we do have the first class layout chosen in PMDG, since that is what Alaska carries in the real world as well. So 165 is actually maximum. Okay, I would say let's go ahead and start the boarding process. Okay then, at that time we can also start with our setup down here. The only thing that I'll do is I will open the service tab on the right FMC, because otherwise I'm pretty sure that I'm going to forget to start the baggage loading. Alright, so 737-900ER with blended winglets. This one should not read anything else, so BW is what you'll have, either that or nothing at all. Split scimitars don't get a different indication there. Okay, 27K rating, database is active, and we're on operational program 87, which is the one that's been released just prior to Christmas. Okay then, so we are definitely going to take the route from here, and we'll do the route uplink. Yes please, get me my SimBrief route please. And that is looking good. Okay, select and you can start uplinking this. Alaska 51 is correct already. In the meantime, let's go back in our EFB and have a look at the most important detail that we got in here. Most importantly, we got to make sure that we don't run above the max landing weight today. As you can see, we are planned completely to the maximum. Okay, route uplink is ready. Then load it up, please. Well, it always takes a little while for this, even though it's just 4 waypoints, but here we go. Route data uplink is there. Then let's go ahead. Departure. Quick check. There one is out of runway 33 in here, but let's just grab the latest weather. Anchorage. 330 at 3 and altimeter 2911 minus 6 degrees. Okay, so 33 actually is looking good. Here we go. Then a quick check of the charts. I am fairly sure that we are just going to fly the Anchorage 9 departure. But nonetheless, yep, it is going to be the Anchorage 9 departure. Alright, and for the arrival, we'll have runway 08 in use, and we'll take the ILS approach 08 from Bravo Romeo Whiskey, probably going to cut it short a little bit later on. Alright. Cool, then let's move on to the performance initialization. Cost NX30. Reserve fuel. Now, this one here is the Lufthansa layout, so we just gotta calculate the reserve on our own, and it's gonna be alternate 7.3 plus, make that 2.3, 66 and 23, yeah, stays under 100. So 7.3 and 2.3 adds me up to 9.6 as reserve. So 9.6, then our target zero fuel weight is going to be 136.3. Like that. And we can start our cargo loading as well, please. Alright, cruising, they did predict flight level 340, so that's what we're going to use at first. Average wind component is plus 23, so what we can do is, I'll just take something like, let's have a look at the map. Okay, it's going to be an average course of, say, 340. So if you take a wind from straight back 160 at, what did we say it is? 160 at 23, then we should have a roughly fitting average wind. And overall, we're going to uplink our wind data in a moment anyway, so it's not going to matter too much. 18,000 is correct. Then, top of climb, well, just shy of it, we've got temperature of minus 58. So if we take top of climb OET at minus 58, that should be good. It's just for performance prediction for the climb anyway, and we're going to execute that. Okay then, can also execute that. Give me my wind data request, please. And that should give us everything we need anyway. Okay, from here on. Okay, cruise wind uplink is there. Load it up. Cruise wind uplink loading. Execute. And forecast uplink loading as well. Load that as well, please. Alright, looking good. Then let's go over to the takeoff page. We are going to do a VNAV takeoff here. Acceleration height is going to be at 1000. Reduction 1500 is good. The runway condition, let's take it wet, just so that we take an account of any possible contamination we might have on that runway outside. Okay, in terms of the wind, let's just use that. 330 at 3. And the slope is going to be 0, that's totally fine. Alright, cool. So that stuff is already pre-filled, and then we can just go ahead into the performance tool. Right, import, it's going to be a runway 33, please. We're going to import that data from the OFP at first, and the weather as well. Okay, let's do calculate. What's different? Verify weight, then select different flap or derate. Okay, well. Let's take some dry snow in here for the performance, just to be sure to get some better values. Interesting that it doesn't want to calculate with optimum. Maybe we just need to insert a CG. Let's just take something like 30. Calculate. Interesting, still unable to calculate. Well, maybe we remove that. Okay, well, interesting. In that case, we'll just have to wait a little bit and retry it when we've got the final performance values. So I'm going to keep the takeoff data empty in here for now. Okay then, let's go ahead anyway with the rest of our flight deck pre-flight, and then we'll do the rest of that stuff later. Okay, thrust feed works. Everything over here is looking good. And we can already bring up the heating. Might be rather cold inside now. That would have been for the PM while I was out for the walk around. Normally when the generator of bus light comes on, that's the moment you turn it on. So that's why I missed it. Okay then. Fuel is on board as needed. Perfect. Okay, they planned us at 340 initially, so that's what I'm going to dial in. Landing altitude should be 0 if I'm not mistaken, but let's just have a quick look into the magic box. So runway 08, elevation 99, minus 50, because the FMS always calculates the elevation plus 50, so we're gonna take 50 over here as well. Okay, it's a base, so I am going to turn on the the igniters to the right side. We'll come back to the performance in a few moments, but for now let's just go over here, see if we've got some initial climb published on the chart. So, top altitude 4,000 feet, perfect. We'll select 4,100 for now. Initial runway heading 329, and thereafter we're going to do a turn. So that means we're going to select 329 on the heading for here. Also, in case of an immediate return, it's going to be runway 07. So let's just go ahead to the approach page and let's take some data for an ILS 7 right. That's going to be 074 on the courses. Here we go, 074. Selected. Okay then, 2911. That is quite a low altimeter setting. But here we go, 29011. And we'll set that on the ISFD as well, like so. Okay, perfect. Then our MFRA is probably going to be 1,000 above ground, so we'll select 1,160. Always takes a while to dial that in, I know, so my apologies for wasting your time with that. Okay, and 160, here we are. Perfect. Okay, quick glide test. The puck glides still seem inoperative. I recently talked to the developers about them, and it's known, it's on the list to be fixed. Will come. Can't tell you when, but it will come. And let's dim them down already, since on the outside it's rather dark already. Okay, that's looking good. So then, quick check. Oil quantity, 18. on each side looking good, and hydraulic quantity close to 100 is good as well. Perfect. Alright, then we can move further down, and the radios, I am just going to use 1228 on COM 1, and then COM 2 we'll set 1 to 1.5. The weather we already received from our EFB, so I won't bother with that. But what I am going to bother with is ILS frequency triple 1.1, and VOR of the local VOR is 1315, so 11315. It's going to go active on both sides. Like that, and then we'll set the ILS 11.3 on the standbys, so that we've got an immediate return prepared in case we actually need to. Okay, looking good. Transponder absolutely gonna go standby, and 2000. Perfect. Alright. So, with that, our setup is pretty much done. Let's also do the oxygen test. And while we do it, while we keep holding it, just have a look at the quantity indication over here. Make sure that it's actually not fluctuating. That would be a no-go for your... that would be a big no-go for your APU. Sorry, APU. Obviously for your oxygen tank, so they would be unserviceable. Okay, and the stick shaker test, couldn't do that earlier on, and that's it. Alright, perfect. So, with that, we are pretty much done. So, are you ready for the departure briefing? So, I don't see any threats for the departure. It's cold outside, so temperature correction may be a thing here. So if we quickly have a look into our SID chart for the Anchorage 9, MSA in the north is 5.6. At this temperature, let's make that 6,000 in the north. But the initial turn is so low, I'm not going to bother with changing that. So 6,000 the MSA, and the top altitude we'll have to discuss with ATC if they want us to adjust it or not. But for now, I would just keep it the way it is, and not bother with changing that. Okay then, so, here it is though, the cold temperature table. So if we want, just to show you what it looks like, the reported temperature, let's take -10, then we're on the conservative side here. So -10, we take an altitude of 4,000, means we need to add 390. So if we want to be entirely correct, our initial climb is going to be 4,400. But we would talk to ATC about that before we change the initial climb. Okay. So, with that now done, let's go ahead with our route check. We're flying from Papa Alpha November Charlie to Papa Alpha Bravo Romeo, Alpha Sierra Alpha 5-1, and all of that is checked. Okay, so our routing is going to be an Anchorage 9 departure with vectors towards Cut D, then direct Bronx, direct Chips, so we've got Bronx, Chips, direct Leto, and thereafter Bravo Romeo Whiskey for an ILS approach, Romeo 08. The total ground distance is supposed to be 647 miles, and in here we got 650, 11 remaining versus reserve of, I believe we said 10, yeah, 9.6. So we got a little bit of extra, not too much. That's pretty much exactly what we wanted. Okay, instrument cross-checked. The UTC time 0039, altimeter 2911, reading 160, MFRA 1160, and the flight directives are on minus the master, yours is standby. It's going to be a left seat takeoff on runway 33, flaps probably 5, noise abatement procedure 2, and we have an MSA of 6,000 feet. In case of engine failure, we are going to proceed straight at initially, but then having a look at our SID chart, we can make it a left-hand turn out to the ocean, and then we'll fly over over the water, and from there we can basically go right back into the ILS runway 07. Also the MSA is much lower there, 1800 corrected 2000. Okay, apart from that, above 80 knots, I will only reject the takeoff for fire or fire warning, engine failure, predictive wind shear, airplane unable or unsafe to fly. If I call stop, I will simultaneously close the thrust levers and disengage the auto thrust. I will apply max manual braking or verify operation of the RTO auto brakes. I will manually raise the speed brake lever and apply max reverse. When the airplane comes to stop, I will set the parking brake. Now it's the FO's turn. If you call stop, I will note the brakes on speed and call speed brakes up or speed brakes not up and thruster as normal up, normal indication. I will call 100 knots, 80 knots, 6 knots and the runway distance remaining. Verify your actions, call any emissions, I will call auto brake disarm and select the flaps to 40 when the parking brake has been set and advise ATC of the reject. We then identify the failure and carry out any drills as appropriate. If we decide to evacuate, we redo the evacuation checklist, time permitting, we'll pull the CBR circuit breaker, you grab the lid and then we get out. If the call before we want to keep going, there will be no actions below 400 feet except to cancel any warnings, raise the landing gear with a positive rate. At 400 feet, verify our heading selector and carry out the memory items. At the MFRA, buck up and retract the flaps on schedule, flaps up no light, select level change, max continuous thrust, engage the automatics, non-normal checklist, normal checklist, PIOC, NITS, PA, and then we see what we're going to do. Anchorage surely is the best option, close up, and we are close to the max landing weight as well, so if we're coming back, then anchorage is the obvious option. Alright, apart from that, for our taxi, it's going to be a pushback with a nose to the right-hand side. Let's see if we can grab that chart as well real quick. Here it is, airport chart. Alright, and that is what we need. So, we're parking straight over here, and I'm sure we got some... Alright, on the Charlies, it's going to be a pushback over here into the taxi lane. What's that? Lane Echo 1. And then our taxi is going to be straight out, probably via Golf or something the likes. And we got runway 33 for our departure, so it's going to be via Golf. And I do believe that's Kilo down here for runway 33. Alright, our SID Anchorage 9 departure, as we already had a look, is going to be an initial climb at 600 feet. And in the FMS we got 600 feet onto a heading of 301, and we have 301 in here as well. Climbing to an altitude of 4,000 feet and temperature corrected, that became 4,400. However, talking to air traffic control, they will probably have told us it's going to be 4,000 exactly. Okay, any questions for the departure briefing? No? Very good. Okay then, let's dial in some random IFR squawk. Let's see, our briefing should... our boarding should be completed by now as well. Yes, it is. So fuel truck can go, these guys can go, and we just switched our power to the APU, so ground power can go as well. Let's see if we've got GSX services available up here. Nope, Quadral scripting engine isn't working. Well, that's fine for me. Then we're going to use PMDG pushback. So you can give me a TPX 200 and you can give me a self-drive. Here we go, self-drive, TPX. Perfect. And that is what we need. Alright then, safety inspection checklist and before start checklist down to the line. Services and shocks, checked. Maintenance status, checked. Battery on, electric hydraulic pumps on, landing gear lever down, chips library checked. IRS mode selectors, nav, gear pins, we've got 1, 2 and 3 removed. Light test checked, oxygen test 100%, yaw damper on, nav transfer and display switches, normal and auto, fuel. That is 19.8 required, 20 on board and 4 pumps on. Cabin utility IT galley power on, emergency exit lights armed, fast melts on, window heat on. Aircon and press, PAX auto, bleeds on and set. Press mode selector, auto, instruments, cross-checked, auto brakes, RTO. Hydraulics. Normal, speed brake. Down detent, parking brake set. Dub trim cutout switches, normal. Wheel well fire warning checked. Radius, radar and transponder, set and standby. Rudder and aileron trims, free and 0. Takeoff briefing discussed. Holding at the PA. Alright, with boarding completed, let's now have a look into our weights. So we're at 136.1, giving us 156.1 for the gross weight, and that should be according to the flight plan if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 155.7. minus our 0 fuel weight, so we are actually looking good for the weight. 36.1 is also 200 pounds less on the 200 pounds less on the 0 fuel weight, so we should be good for our max landing weight as well. Alright, perfect. Then let's have a second look into our performance and see what we're going to get out of it. This time I'm going to import from the aircraft. Let's hit calculate, and here we go. That's better. Alright, cool. So it's going to be takeoff 1 and no assumed temperature. So takeoff 1 equals 26k in this airplane. 95.3, and that is 94.7. Yeah, that's close enough. That's just fine. Okay, so let's see. Takeoff flaps, they set 5. Going to use the CG from here, 4.8 units trim. So let's bring that up. Here we go. And then we use our takeoff speeds 146, 147, 156. So that's going to be 146, 147, 156. Perfect. And this is a nice example, by the way, of why it is important that you don't just take the numbers from the FMC down here. You can see the V1 is off by 4 knots. And why you actually do your calculations through the electronic flight back. Because as you can see, the runway condition of dry snow there, on this runway, doesn't have an effect. On other runways, however, it does. So it always comes down to things like the runway length, etc. And that's something that the FMF is not able to calculate, but only your OPT, your onboard performance tool. Sorry, I was stuck with the Addons name. Only your OPT is able to calculate that properly. Alright, cool. So we got all that stuff done. Let's release our jetway, if we can. Oh boy, really? Okay, here we go. Jetway release. Is it moving now? Yes. Very good. And a quick check. Close the door. Alright, then over into the pushback. This is all set. Chocks remove. Okay then. We can do the rest of the checklist down to the line and below the line, please. And we've got the overwing door lights. That's a very old 737 bug. If I just move my thrust levers up again, problem solved. Right, cabin is ready. Then let's go. Alright, complete the checklist, please. And we might as well just say hello to our passengers. Good afternoon and Merry Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. From Flight Deck, this is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel, and in the name of Alaska Airlines, you're all very warm welcome aboard our flight to Barrow. Now, flight time today is going to be about 1 hour and 40 minutes, and we expect a cruise altitude of 34,000 feet. At this point, we'd already like to say thank you for joining us. Sit back, relax, enjoy the flight with us. If there is anything we can do for you to make it more comfortable, please don't hesitate to contact any of our cabin crew. However, don't forget the cabin crew is there for exactly 3 reasons. That's your safety, and your safety. If at some point they also find a little bit of time to do some service, then that is just an extra on top of it. Now, we would like to say thank you very much for joining us. Sit back, relax, enjoy the flight with us. And if there is anything we can do for you apart from your safety, then feel free to contact any of your crew members. Thank you very much for your attention, and we'll get back to you with the latest details regarding our arrival as soon as we start our descent to our destination. Okay, complete the checklist, please. PA complete, FMC CDU, set N1 and IS bugs. We've got automatic, and that's full 26k, speeds 46, 47, and 56 set. Step trim 4.9 set, performance weight and balance, sign send, films off, EFB is in airplane mode and stowed, flight windows and cockpit door, locked, doors closed, passengers seated, before start checklist complete. To the line and below the line, please. Air compacts off, anti-collision light on, parking brake set, transponder out off, before start checklist complete. Ground cockpit, go on please. So, please confirm doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment is removed, bypass pin is installed. Yes sir, we can confirm. Door hatch is closed, ground current removed, and bypass pin is installed. Roger, pushback approved, parking brake set. Release parking brake. Parking brake released. Okay, pushback approved, and we're ready to start engines at any time. Roger. Okay, let's go for it. Using the self-drive option over here, so we just gotta make sure that we actually try and put that airplane halfway correctly on the line. Probably ain't gonna happen, I know my luck, but let's at least give it a try. And as soon as we clear the road, we can commence our engine start. By the way, doesn't that just look completely beautiful? I really think it does. That simulators has become incredible over the time. Okay, let's start turning. A little bit at least. Okay then, ready to start engines? Starting engine 2. So that's N2, oil pressure, N1. Okay then, pushback complete, set parking brake. Parking brake set, please remove the tow bar and the tuck and advise when clear. Okay ground, tuck tow bar removed and standing by for engine start. Roger. Starter. Come on, cut out. Ah, it's not 56% yet. Okay, start a cutout, monitor 2, and starting 1. Engine 2 stable. N2, oil pressure, N1. It's lovely how quiet the engines are in the 900, isn't it? You can really feel that they're a little bit further back from the cockpit than in the other types. Okay, waiting 56% N2. Here we go. Starter, cutout, monitor 1, 2, a little bit hot, 6 and 6. Okay, number 1 stable. Okay, ground cockpit, go ahead. So we've got 2 good engine starts, clear disconnect, clear signal on the left side, please with a pin, and have a good day. Right, thank you very much, disconnecting, good day. So we can leave him in auto for the takeoff here. Alright, I don't see any contamination on the surfaces here, so what I am going to do is I will select the flaps already. Here we go. Then flight control check. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, rudder, full left, full right, neutral. After start checklist. Generators on, APU off, start switches, auto, probeat on, anti-ice on. Okay, air conditioning, PAX auto, bleeds on, isolation valve, auto, flaps. We've got 5 required, 5 selected, and the green light. Step trim 4.9 required set, start levers, idle detent, flight controls, checked, recall. checked, and that's the after start checklist complete. Okay, clear left side, clear right side. And let's also get that heads-up display down. We'll go to manual and dial it all the way down, please. Like that. Alright, cool. Brake released. Lights going off. Maybe a little bit of AFDS floodlight, like that. Alright, config. Looking good. Taxi. It's a rather heavy 900. You can see we need like 40% to get going, but that's alright. Alright, taxi is basically as briefed. Right, so we go straight out. Yep, straight out, not to the side. That's what happens if I'm looking down for too much. Okay, so straight out onto kilo and then runway 33. All the sides looking clear, very good. Okay, before takeoff, checklist down to the line. Config, checked. Flaps, 5, green light. Step trim, 4.9 set. Takeoff briefing. It's going to be a left seat takeoff, runway 33, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure 1. Takeoff speeds 146, 147, 156, and that's set. And it is going to be PAX auto, bleeds on, anti-ice on. We're going to use LNAV and VNAV for the takeoff, so manually bugging up is not going to be our concern. However, the acceleration is going to be at an altitude of 1000 above the ground. Apart from that, in case of emergencies, we can go anywhere out to the left-hand side. Over there, we've gotten corrected MSA of 2000 feet, so kilometer 3000 is going to keep us safe for an immediate return onto an ILS approach for runway 07. Right as we have already set up in the courses and the frequencies down there. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Any questions? No? Very good. Then, cabin secured before takeoff, checklist complete, down to the line. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. And VNAV don't seem to arm. That's interesting. Why is that? Is there anything missing? Anything not right? Or is it just because of the options we have selected? Well, it doesn't matter too much, honestly. Let's reset the flight director, see if that makes a difference. That's better. Okay, so clear on the approach, line up checklist. Oh. Well, that's the Airbus version of things. Before takeoff, checklist below the line. MCP set, transponder, Tara, strobe lights on, and cleared for takeoff. Landing lights on. Before takeoff, checklist complete. Okay, are you ready? Timing. Takeoff. Stabilized. Set takeoff thrust. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. Checked. Gear up. Enough. Enough. And the acceleration altitude. Flaps 1. Speed checks. Flaps 1. Flaps up. Speed check. Flaps up. Man, seems a little bit bumpy over here. Let's hope we'll be out of that soon. Okay. Come on, A. Again, your call, guys. Pick any organization you think that deserves it, and do make a good donation, please. Alright, let's continue to climb here. Shouldn't be too much traffic up northbound, so let's go straight to level 340 here. Then we've got flaps up, no lights. Okay, after takeoff checklists. And we can release a cabin. So, air condition and pressurization, we have 1.9 climbing and set. Holding at the altimeters. Right then, direct to Cut D. Should be well clear of any terrain at this point, and we are. Very good. And we can already reset our MFRA, don't need that anymore. Anti-ice can come off as well. Here we go. So that's pretty much everything settled for now. And we can slowly start settling in for our flight to Barrow. Now, it's going to take about an hour and 40 minutes. I will give you a little bit of acceleration in a few moments, so that it doesn't get too boring for you guys to watch. But in the meantime, again, a few things that I want to point you to in the PMDG. Now, if you have a look at the fuel gauge down there, you can see right now we're showing 1.89 thousand pounds in the center fuel tank. If you remembered, however, what we lifted up in our pre-flight, you would have noticed that it was 2.3 roundabout. And wait for it. I can already see it slowly increasing, 1.9. And the reason for that is the center tank fuel quantity is going to vary, or rather the center tank fuel quantity indication is going to vary with the pitch of the airplane. That basically means that the further up we are pitching, like right now I can see 1.87 as we just pitched up a tiny little bit here, but when we now lower the nose at 10,000 feet, you will see the center tank fuel quantity actually increasing again. 1.86, now watch it as the nose is coming down. 1.9, and here it's increasing. And the reason for that is the movement of the fuel in the center tank. It's nice, isn't it? Bound to the pitch of the airplane. And that's exactly something that happens in the real world. When you descend later on, it is actually going to overread and show you more fuel than you've actually got in your airplane. Look at that, 2.1 now. Quite a difference by just pitching 6 degrees, isn't it? Alright then, let's do the 10 checks. We'll put the landing lights into the pulse position initially, because that increases visibility to birds and other traffic. The same for the logo light. So, we've got lights off. The fuel is balanced. Let's now make it 6 pumps on. Lights off, APU off, air conditioning and pressurization is now 4.2, climbing and set. Fast belts, yeah, I don't see any reason to keep them on, so let's go fast belts auto. Recall checked, 1 to 1.5, we're going to start monitoring that now. And with that, our 10 checks are complete. So pretty cool, isn't it? I really like these small little features in the PMDG that you otherwise barely would notice. Obviously now with the center pumps active, you will no longer be able to make out too much of a difference, since we're just talking about a couple of tens of pounds of fuel here. But nonetheless, it's really neat to see the airplane come alive with all these little things that are modeled down here in the PMDG. By the way, in case you've been wondering why we left the center fuel pumps off for takeoff, technically speaking, Boeing says that as long as your center fuel is 1,000 pounds or 453 kilos or more, you can turn them on for takeoff. However, it is fairly easy to turn them on in the pre-flight procedure when you see something that's just above 1,000 pounds or so, and then to turn them off and then to keep them on with your quantity decreasing below 1,000 pounds or 453 kilograms during your engine startup and your taxi, until eventually it might reach a point where, due to a bumpy runway, the fuel quantity gets below that threshold, and then due to a bumpy runway or something, the center fuel pumps might not have sufficient fuel in the tank and might come up with the low pressure light flickering temporarily. And if that happens, you might get a master caution during the takeoff run. And remember, below 80 knots we abort for any malfunction. So when that master caution comes up below 80 knots, you just reject the takeoff. And in order to avoid that happening, we don't turn the center pumps on if the quantity is 1,000 pounds or less. However, I did found in practical experience on the 737 that you might even get the warnings if you've got even more fuel than 453 kilos. Now I'm just going to say that in kilograms because that's what we've been using on my airplane. And we basically said 1,000 kilograms is a good fuel quantity above which you can use the center pumps, below which you're going to turn them on at 10,000. Also, we're just going through transition altitude, so set standard. Standard cross check passing flight level 194 now. Checked. And that's the let's also turn the lights off, and that's the 10 checks complete now. Alright, so that's a small little story behind the center tank fuel pumps in the Boeing 737, and a lovely little feature that PMDG does completely simulate, by the way. Alright, so for now it is going to be a little while until we start our approach preparations, so I'm going to use a little bit of time acceleration here, and then I see you all again later as we start our descent preparation. Slowly but steadily we are approaching the top of descent already in what is a rather quick flight over here. So, the sun is slowly starting to set and we can enjoy a lovely view on our split scimitar winglet with the typical Alaska logo over here. And look at what we just found right on top of us. We're flying straight into the northern light, it looks. Isn't that totally amazing? Like, totally amazing. So, I would love to enjoy the Northern Lights for a little bit longer. Unfortunately though, I have a feeling we need to start and get to work for a bit. Otherwise, we might just about run out of time before our top of descent. But let's just take one more moment to enjoy these lovely views up here. The Addon, by the way, if you're wondering, is from SoFly. Aurora Borealis. Currently up for some $6 or $7 on Marketplace and certainly worth the investment. Alright, in the meantime, let's go ahead and get our arrival data. Currently it's 1208 at 9, overcast 1300, minus 19 degrees centigrade, altimeter 2959. So 2959, that is still rather low, even though not as bad as it used to be in Anchorage. Alright, let's pre-select that, and when that's pre-selected we are going to go ahead with our FMS setup. So, arrival. As you can see, there's no star published, only the approaches, and it is going to be the ILS approach for runway 8 that we are going to fly today. Also, let's take the airport chart, and there is not even any reference chart published, so let's not bother with that. Okay, so give me that nighttime chart, please. Thank you. So, as you can see, flat terrain all around, 1500 is the MSA, and the approach is going to lead us over the sea, outbound from Bravo Romeo Whiskey. Now, what I am quickly going to do down here is have a quick look into our routing that we've got in here, because I have a feeling, yeah, they want us to fly the racetrack down there. Probably not going to do that. Instead, what I'm going to do is I will build a little downwind. So let's go, well, basically from Leto we can go right into downwind, can we? Let's take our final approach fix then, which is going to be Upkin. Then from Upkin we're going to go southbound, so let's say 330/4 miles. Oh no, that was wrong. That was wrong. Obviously, Upkin 167/4. That's better. We can take that, and then we're going to fly from here straight on, or straight there after Leto. That looks better to me. Okay, then descent preparation. We'll insert 250 below 100. The forecast we basically have already, but I'm just going to request it again. And 2959 going into the QNH. Transition level 180 is correct for the US. Anti-ice, yeah, we will need some. I'm gonna tell it at 6,000. We're going to put it on like so. Okay. ISR minus 16. Yeah, that is definitely rather cold. And that's just the average. Okay, so for the arrival, runway 08, let's insert those rings. We're gonna go with 108 mile ring for 3 times cruise, then it's gonna be 10 mile ring, and finally we're gonna take a 4-mile ring since we are going to be in VMC. The approach itself is okay the way it is, we're going to burn that 1.5, so that's a landing weight of 146.6. Now the big question is that going to be within the max landing weight? So let's have a look. 146.3. Okay, so we're 300 pounds too heavy. We're going to burn 300 pounds. Well, that might be just about easy. Let's see, 300 knots descent. Now we burn 1.4, so that has not really helped. Still 146.6, okay. Then let's make it 315 knots descent. Basically, by increasing the speed at which we're flying, I want to burn a little bit more fuel. Here we are, down by 100 already, so we got to burn 200 additional pounds of fuel. So let's go Mach 0.8. Just increasing my speeds a little bit here, and then we got 0.8, 315. Again, 10.4. The rest of it we are just going to burn by extending the gear a little bit earlier. So if we just take the gear down by like 10 miles or so, we will be completely fine to burn that additional fuel here. Could tell the airplane that we want to do so by inserting a 159 speed restriction at Opkin. Let's see what that gives. Okay, that target speed should have decreased, because the airplane now knows that we want final configuration by Opkin, but so be it. We'll just use the speed brake or extend the gear a little bit earlier, and then we'll be fine just at the max landing weight. Okay, so that stuff is in. Then let's just insert 146.3, and it's going to be a flaps 40 landing, because I am a little afraid that the runway might be slippery. Alright, so 080 and the final and the frequency 110.5. Is in. Okay then, let's have a quick look. Touchdown zone elevation is 49 feet. And the runway length, shouldn't we have that anywhere on the approach chart? It's been a while since I used the Jeppesen charts. Well, let me take it from here. Okay, 7,100 feet. Even though, interestingly enough, over here it says runway length in meters, but the default 10,000 still suggests that this is feet rather than meters. Well, I'm going to keep it like that, and we'll see when we arrive, whatever the HUD is going to show us. Alright then, 10.5 going active. I don't think there is any local beacon or such. Oh, there is. Okay, well then we can insert Barrow 16.2 and Bowerville 281. So 281 and then 116.2, and I'll just switch that active for now. Pretty much like that. Alright, we're actually receiving it already. Very good. Cool, so time for a little bit of landing calculations then. Landing en route, import runway. Interesting, it says runway 7 in here. It's runway 8 by now. Let's see, runway heading 078, so that should be runway 08. Not sure where that comes from. Okay, going to take that. Flaps 40, packs on, anti-ice will probably be on engines. Reverser all operational. Auto brakes we'll see. Weather we'll import. Here we go. Calculate. Okay. Looks good. What if we take auto brakes 2? Yeah, that works as well. Okay, so tell you what, let's make it auto brakes 2. Alright, are you ready for the approach briefing? Well, actually, I'm not ready for the approach briefing, because, let's just see. I don't think I saw any cold temperature correction chart. No, I didn't, but we still gotta do one, so let's take it from here. Luckily we had that chart available in Anchorage. Okay, so reported temperature is going to be -20. And at that temperature, our FUF needs to be corrected by 280 feet, so let's just go over here, and then we check the 2000. We make that 2280. Like that. Alright, then Franny is at 1700, so 1700 is right in the middle here. Let's make 250 to be on the safe side. So Franny is going to be at 1950. Insert that. And now for the ILS runway 8 approach. Climbing 1000 and climbing right under 2000. And hold. Okay, so let's see, 2000 should be above the corrected MSA. So 1500, let's see. 1500 minus 20, 210, so the MSA is 1710. So we don't need to correct the missed approach altitude. So the reason why I corrected the altitudes on the way in, but not on the way out for the go-around, is because I want to intercept the ILS perfectly fine at the correct altitude, even though I should have... Give me a moment. That should have been above. Alright. And at Franny over here, 1950, is going to be where we intercept the glide slope. So the reason I corrected the altitudes on the approach, but not on the missed approach, is because I want to be sure that I'm doing a continuous descent on the way in. But on the missed approach, since the missed approach altitude of 2000 feet is above the corrected MSA of 1710, we don't need to do temperature correction on that. Alright, so that's that part. Then the minimum is 200 feet above ground. Let's see once again. So 200 feet above ground means we need to add 30 feet. So plus 30 makes 279. As always, takes ages to dial that in, but hopefully we are going to see an improvement on that in the future. So 279, here we go. Alright, now we should be all set up for the approach, so let's go ahead with the approach briefing. Threats for the arrival, nothing really. Perhaps a little bit of skidding of the airplane on the runway surface. Should be all clear, but in case there is some snow on it, in case we do start skidding, we are going to use the reversers as applicable to get us back onto the surface. Also, let's have a quick look at what our magnetic variation is, provided we have that anywhere here on the chart. And it's really been a while since I worked with Jefferson charts on these things. The Lidos always have that nice little symbol down there, so if you guys know where to find magnetic variation on the JEPI chart, then do put it in the comments below. In any case, probably going to be like 20 degrees or something, so it's not going to matter too much with the... It's not going to matter too much with... Oh, here we go. Right, 10 degrees east, so doesn't matter too much. The reason I'm looking into the magnetic variation is because when looking at the destination weather, that wind is given in degrees true. And that means, in order to compare that with our runway track, which is magnetic, we need to adjust the wind. So today it's just 9 knots, and 120 degrees true becomes 110 degrees magnetic, since it's an easterly variation. So the wind is 30 degrees offset from the runway, doesn't matter too much. But that's just something to keep in mind here. Okay, should have started our descent. Obviously, I just missed the TD. Doesn't matter. Alternate event, down we go. Retard, enough speed. Let's just catch it straight back. Maybe we can even increase the target speed a little, and then we should be on profile again. Let's see what we get at 325 knots. Yeah, should be alright. We'll catch that again. Okay, so for the briefing, we've got the speeds all in, forecast is in, fixed rings runway 8 is 10 and 4. The arrival is going to be with the radar vector we have built ourselves after Leto. And what else is there? Well, approach is going to be an ILS approach runway 8. And here we go. ILS runway 8 starting at Franny 1700, becomes temperature corrected 1950, down to the minimums corrected towards 278. In case I missed approach, straight at 1000, right into Barrows, VOR climbing at 2000, and hold. Alright, apart from that, don't really have anything special there. So let's see, we're going to burn, that's 600 pounds of fuel, and that's 146.8 still, so we just gotta make sure that we don't exceed the max landing weight. That's probably the greatest threat for the arrival as well, making sure that we configure early enough that the landing weight is going to be in limits. Okay, apart from that, nothing to add really. So we've got a 7,100 foot runway, which is plenty. And if we just have a quick look into the ground chart, we'll see that landing on runway 08, gotta let it roll and then make a 180 on the runway, then vacate via Charlie, and then we taxi to the apron. That's really it. Nothing special. Okay, cool. So with that completed, let's go ahead and do a quick PA to the passengers, and then we will do the descent checklist. Ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon again from flight deck, your captain. We've started our descent towards Barrows, where we're going to land within the next 15 to 20 minutes. Weather up there, it's a little bit cloudy, and the temperature currently minus 19 degrees centigrade. We'd like to thank you very much for choosing Alaska Airlines for today's flight. Hope that you've enjoyed it as much as we did, and we look forward to see you all again in the future. In the meantime, we wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we hope to see you again very soon. Thank you very much for your attention. Alright, cool, descent checklist. Pressurization, landing altitude 50, anti-ice, off, recall, checked, approach briefing fuel, discussed, IS and outbox checked, and set. Approach checklist complete. Sorry, descent checklist complete. That way around. Alright, at 20,000 we're going to turn on the seatbelt signs, but I tell you what, let's just flick them on now. How much longer are we flying? Supposed to put them on at 15 minutes. Yeah, look at that. It's like 18 minutes right now, so that's completely fine. Alright, look at that. The Aurora Borealis is actually still up there. Wow. Just wow. Tell you what, that picture is gonna look even nicer if we turn the logo light on. So let's just do that. Yeah. That's really neat. That's really, really neat. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So far in the real world I've seen Northern Lights exactly once, and funnily enough that was on a flight not so long ago coming back from the USA. Interestingly enough, normally you say that you see northern lights above 60 north, but we actually saw them at 57, I believe. Maybe even 53. They were really down to the south. Nobody expected to see them. And then, all of a sudden, we were like, hey, what's that outside? And it was the northern lights. It was really amazing to see. Really amazing. Let's just get rid of that HUD for a second. Okay, 1,000 to go. Let's continue the descent. We'll take 10,000 as next cleared altitude. Set and set altimeter 2959. Okay, you can give me level change. Speed 320 maybe. Maybe even a bit less. What do we get if we take 315? Yeah, that's looking better. VNAV. Okay, passing 18,000. Let's turn the lights to pulse. So on that first flight, we just saw the northern lights for about 3.5 hours, all the way from the Canadian east coast until we reached Scotland. And that was really beautiful. If you're thinking about how long-haul pilots are nowadays staying awake during night flights, there you got your answer. It's one of the things we do. There's obviously other nice things to see, and I'm not just talking about the cabin crew, but that's just really beautiful, isn't it? Again, the add-on I'm using for that is from South Oak Inc., I believe they're called, and it's available on Marketplace for a couple euros, like 7 or 8 euros or something. At the moment I'm recording it, it's even up for sale at six bucks, I believe. And for flights up in the high north, really, really worth it. They're looking really nice. Even more so from the outside. And at that point, remember again, education is the one thing that changes the world. And take a small moment over here in Christmas to think about an organization that you think deserves your donation and make a small donation there to make the world a little bit better place. That's the big message I'm trying to convince on this particular flight over here and on this particular Christmas Eve 2023. So do take that moment and make a small donation to an organization that you think deserves it. Okay, so let's turn the brightness down a little bit. That's what I like to do for approaches at nighttime in the real world as well. Just make everything really dim so that the outside world becomes visible much better. So let's dim our stuff down a bit. Just a slight backlighting here. Okay, 1,000 to go. And then let's go all the way down towards 2,000 from where we're going to start the approach. Alright, that's how I like it to look. I do sincerely hope that you guys are not watching that on a bright daylight at the moment, but that you guys have the ability to watch this in a rather dim real-world lighting scenario as well, since otherwise I know it'll be a little hard to read everything on your computer screens. Right, let's get that HUD down again. HUD brightness can go down a bit as well. Like, that's really how I like it to look. Alright, looking good, in the true sense of the word. So approaching 10,000 feet, let's go ahead and do the 10 check straight away. The fuel is now balanced, and here's what I meant on our way out. We now have a little bit of a fuel indication there in the center tank, even though we had used it up in cruise flight. And depending on the pitch of our plane, this is going to vary a little bit. At some point, the last fuel that you've got collected in your center tank is going to be transferred into the wing tanks by the scavenge pump, so you don't need to worry too much about the remainder of fuel that's still left in there. The scavenge pump is going to take care of that. Okay, so fuel is balanced with 4 pumps on, the lights on, angle of bank 25, air conditioning pressurization is now at 3.8, descending and set. Fast mode's on. Let's turn on the chime as well. So fast mode's on, recall checked, and we can deselect 21.5 so that we no longer have to hear all the animal voices out there. Alright, perfect. 10 checks complete. Something I like about the 737-900 is how it is a more stable airplane than the 737-800 is. So the 800 is the most slippery of the family, and the 900 is actually a little bit more stable, making our life a little bit easier flying it. Watch those beautiful colors up there. Okay, cool. So let's turn the ILS active on VOR1. Like so. And then we'll just have to wait until it is identified. Alright, here it is. The ILS is identified. The way this works on the actual airplane is that the airplane listens out to the Morse code transmitted, so we can obviously just do that manually. On my last flight I actually had to do it in the A330, because for some reason the airplane wouldn't identify it. But if we turn this up, the NAV1 or NAV2 receivers, depending on what you want to listen to, and in the real world you could now hear the Morse code associated with the frequency. So if you look at the chart, that is the reason why down here you actually see the letters in Morse code. The airplane, however, can listen to that automatically, and as soon as the airplane has identified this, it is going to show you the letters on the primary flight display. So if we do a quick frisk check, we're going to end up with the frequencies as 110.5 on both sides. Rings, runway 08, 10 miles, 4 miles, Addons. We've got India Bravo Romeo Whiskey and India Bravo Romeo Whiskey. Standby instruments, set courses 080. And with that we have our frisk completed. Approach checklist please. Altimeters and instruments, set and cross-checked, approach aids, checked and set, approach checklist complete. I'll turn the VSD active on my side, and the FO can then stay on his display. Right, start the deceleration, and I am in for a little bit of manual flight here, so let's go. Just gotta remember to keep an eye on our landing weight. Want landing fuel of 10.2. That is what we calculated earlier, where we are going to reach the desired minimum. So, flaps 1. Speed checked. Oh, that might have been a bit too much trim. Flaps 1. Okay, flaps 5. Speed checked. Flaps 5. Okay, gear down, flaps 15, and that should be sufficient drag in order to get ourselves into a good position to lose the remainder of the extra fuel we currently have. Okay then, looking good. Okay, landing checklist down to the flaps, please. Start switches, auto, recall, check, speed brake, armed, green light, landing gear down 3 green, auto brake 3 set. Okay, let's continue the descent. Level change. Oh man, the thing has so much drag with the gear down. Probably even going to use a little bit of thrust together with our level change over here. Could obviously just go something vertical speed 800 or so. Let's do vertical speed minus 700. And now we're good to go. Okay, 159 should be our target. That's the flaps 15 speed. Perfect. So fuel is 10.4 right now. That means we got plenty of extra for our return in case we need to. Or for our diversion, I should say. And 10.2 is going to be our desired landing fuel. So we should be very good to go. Oh, thank you, FS Realistic. Oh boy, and straight away it changes my zoom. Here we go. That's where we want it to be. Alright. So, the glide slope is alive. Let's do 500 feet a minute then. Like so. And we can arm the approach mode. Okay, fuel 10.3, so I probably even extended a little bit more drag than I really needed to, but that's totally fine. Just wow, huh? Just wow. Okay then, let's turn final. We've got Warlock captured. I might overshoot here a little. No, it's good. Okay, set runway heading 080. There you go, runway heading set. Okay, fuel is 10.1, so we are within the max landing weight now. Perfect. So let's see how well Microsoft Flight Simulator is going to simulate the cold temperature correction now. We're going to put the anti-ice on. And if Microsoft Flight Simulator is doing things right, then by the time we pass Rainy, we should be in 1950 in order to catch the ILS. Let's see how well that is going to work. A little bit bumpy here, but we're just about right in the top of the clouds, so that is rather expected, to be honest. Okay, glide slope alive. Glide slope capture. Okay, look at that. Passing Franny, 1900 feet-ish, so the cold temperature correction is actually simulated very well. I have to be honest, I didn't expect that. Okay then, flaps 25. And flaps 40. Complete the landing checklist. Flaps 40. 40. Green light. Landing lights. On. Landing checklist complete. Alright, and now we can focus on the approach. Going stable through 1000. Okay, turning to the left now to get onto the extended center line. Localizer is slightly offset, it seems. Disregard the approach warning there. Our altitude is good. Okay, look at that, the runway is just shown at an incorrect location, probably due to the localizer. Okay, continue. Why didn't we get any callouts? Well, we're down. Hey, speed brake up, thruster is normal. Runway seems to be rather clear. 100 knots. $80 knots. Manual brakes. Auto brake disarm. Alright, here we are. An hour and 34, not too bad. Okay, let's bring the dome light on dim so that we can see something as we're tidying up. So I don't think there's been any icing here. So let's go completely flaps up. About to leave the runway, so we can just turn the strobes off already. And here we go. Okay, starting APU. And we are going to keep the engine anti-ice and the probe heat on just for the sake of it. Okay, that does look good. Looks like the taxiways are cleared as well. Very good. Okay then, let's taxi to the main apron. By the way, beautiful freeware airport, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful freeware airport, Barrows. Oh, interesting how my view just got underground. Seen this happen a few times since Sim Update 14, so maybe it's a bug with SU14. Surprise, surprise, a bug in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Who would have thought that? Right, APU is available and on the bus. There is no real airliner parking over here at this airport, so we're just going to go in front of that hangar over here, and from there they're going to catch our passengers with a bus. And that is what we are going to do then. Alright, there's a marshaller in place over there. At least I hope it is a marshaller. Or over there. Which are the two now? I think it's the one over there, which we... Or is it? Yeah, those are not caring about us. That is a marshaller there. Okay. Even though I'm wondering about the placement of that pushback tuck there. Oh boy, I do smell some scrap metal already. Alright, that is tight with the buildings, but it will be fine. Most importantly, we just gotta make sure that we actually get onto the line over here. Can we see something? Yeah, looks good. Okay, a bit more to the right. Sure thing. Alright. Parking brake set, 2 blue, 1 red. Engine's dead. Okay, parking checklist. Oh, let's make it the transit shutdown checklist. So, electrical on APU, fasten belts, off. Probe heat on, anti-ice off, air conditioning packs auto, engine bleeds on, APU bleed on, exterior lights. So we've got both engines below 20%. Set. Start switch is auto. Auto brake off. Speed brake down to 10. Flaps up and light. Parking brake set. Start levers cut off. Weather radar off. Transponder 2000 standby. CB in. Cockpit door about to be unlocked. And that's the checklist complete. Alright then guys, thank you very much for flying along. I do hope that you have liked this one. If you did, do let me know in the comments below. Again, do consider to donate, as that is really what Christmas should be about. Caring about others, most important thing for us for today. With that, I am going to start our deboarding over here and our deplaning, and with that, I'll let you over to your loved ones. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I do sure hope that you have enjoyed this flight. If you did, do let me know in the comments below. And finally, here's the proof I didn't scratch any of the wings. Even though, well, it's a good idea to get the stairs out of the building, even though I would have preferred if they had opened that door in first place. So, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Do hope you liked it. If you did, do let me know in the comments below. Leave a like, as it does help with the YouTube algorithms. And finally, I'm really looking forward to see you all again right on the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and see you again in the closer rather than far future.